So now that I've gotten that out of the way, I want to introduce to you. Oh, wait, let's pause because I forgot to tell you that our virtual sessions have a chat box and you can type your questions in the chat box. We'll get to it after the main presentation and help you just clarify any points you may want to have clarified after, right? So our guest, Ms. Karena Sukhu, is an SME consultant, a business coach, and mentor who spearheads Caption Consulting and Coaching Limited. She engages in meaningful collaboration with clients as their strategic business partner. Her experience expands over 20 years with small businesses just like yours, as she's an International Coaching Federation credentialed coach, and she holds an MBA with specialism in human resource management. Every day, Karena collaborates with entrepreneurs and inspiring entrepreneurs to help them resolve ambiguities and enable them to navigate through this very unique entrepreneurial journey that they have embarked on. She stays inspired by reading, working out, meeting up with friends, and the occasional road trip. So if you are to get onto Karena, she also engages with the clarification of core values, identification of roadblocks for businesses, communication and communicating as an entrepreneur, building a brand and branding the entrepreneurial business, understanding marketing on the whole, as well as creating job profiles with business objectives for people just like you. Karena, it's wonderful to have you today. And I am going to hand over to you to start your presentation.
Welcome, welcome everyone. And Kristel, as usual, thank you so much for the warm introduction. And what we're doing here today is what it's my passion and it's what I love to do. So let me just share my screen so we can jump right in. Great. So hello again and welcome. This webinar hosted by NEDCO and presented by Caption Consulting and Coaching Limited. As Kristel mentioned, this is really a session where you can have this opportunity to understand in a much clearer way, what are those nuances in your business? What could be those possible gaps? And how do you really gain that competitive edge? So to get the best out of this session, your attention is really required, and it is all about your growth and your development. So feel free at the end of the session, you'll be able to post your question in the chat while we're going on, or you can unmute at the end so we can have you, live and speaking in terms of answering your question. And so I'm hoping that this hour would really be worthwhile for you on this entrepreneurial journey. Again, it could be daunting in some moments, and with competition being very saturated and so much of the environmental factors actually coming into play, you would find that sometimes information seems like an overload, and sometimes the information is just what you need. So I hope that today the information that you receive is just what you need. So let us get right into marketing to gain a competitive advantage. So at the end of this session, it's hoping, that everything goes well and you understand clearly. You would be able to understand the importance of marketing as an entrepreneur. You'll be able to analyze your position in the marketplace, your business and how it is positioned, and also, most importantly, create that pathway of growth and sustainability for your business. So we, talk about competitive advantage, and really what is that? Exactly what Kristel would have mentioned. You go into the store and you have expectations. You have these expectations, and when you actually go there, it doesn't happen. There is something, the perception that you gain, from the store, just interacting on the Facebook page or on social media, other social media platforms, it just isn't what you expected. And today is really all about understanding competitive advantage. And what that really is, it is what makes the consumer choose your product or service over competitors. And not just once, but time and time again. And also doing this in a way where there's referrals. So this is what gives you the edge over competitors in the minds of the consumer. So it's very much a lot of emotions that's connected to it also, and how your brand, product, or service actually makes that customer or the audience feel. So amongst the competition, your business would have a favorable position in the minds of consumers when you have a competitive advantage. And let me just say one thing here before, so that we understand it. One of the key factors for competitive advantage as a micro and small business is compliance. That compliance is important, especially if you're dealing with other businesses. So when I say compliance, I mean in terms of having your business registered and, developing processes so that when you do expand, you're actually doing it right from the start. So you do your best to be compliant from the start, so that as you progress, it is not going to be, a daunting, winded process. The strategic overview of the business. This is really the most time-consuming, but I would say it's also the most important part of the business, in everything that you do in the business. And for a successful business, everything originates from the vision, the mission, and the core values of the business. When you have a vision for your business, you know exactly where your business is going. And this is important. This is the big picture. This is where you want to be in 10 years' time. And it really, is connected deeply with who you are as a person, as a business owner, and what product or service you're offering the marketplace. And with a mission, you have the plan to get there. So you need to know where you're going, and then you also need to have that plan in terms of how am I going to get there. And let me just add that with a mission statement, and when it's very clear, what this helps is with targeting. Targeting for your business is very important, and that's more at the marketing level, which we will just touch on in a bit. But having that mission is very important, because if you don't have a mission and you are not clear in terms of who am I serving, what are my products, what are my services, what are you really doing? I mean, I know that some businesses evolved just from a simple experiment, let me try this, let me see how this will work, and then it ended up positive for and people started to like your product or service, and then it ended up okay, you started to produce, so you're actually having that transactional value that's coming in terms of money and in the bank account and all of these things. But then you didn't really take the time to do the back end work, which is really the strategic overview, and it is the bedrock. So mission then moves into our core values, and the core values really and truly what they say is it's the brand essence of the business. The brand essence of the business is important to know, because if you don't have like any sort of direction in terms of your branding, what do you want customers to feel, when they purchase your product or service? It's going to be like a flat out. It's going to be transactional at the end of the day, and it's not going to add that an extra layer of what I should tell my friend about this product. I should introduce this product to my family members. This really is the the root system, so the core values, they also dictate like the standards. What are those performance standards? What do you want this business to really stand for? It is considered that these three pillars, it is important for effectiveness and for success. Again, the time is needed to really get into the nuts and bolts of it. And that takes time with the entrepreneur to pay attention, to what it is they really want to achieve. And a lot of small businesses, micro businesses, they overlook this phase simply because it does not produce any of the immediate results. And what am I talking about here? I'm speaking about maybe an increase in the bank account, right? Because you're not producing any goods or services here. What you're actually doing is sitting, by your desk or on your dining table and just getting all of these details together and putting things into perspective so you can then communicate in the marketplace in a way that is really, useful in terms of helping customers, feeding them that information so that they know, okay, yes, this is a company I would like to do some business with, or I would like to try their products and services. It requires your attention. So the vision and the mission, what it really covers are those functional areas of the business. Like, again, like the performance standards, what are those strategies? I mean, how would this business take a certain direction, some contingency planning in there, and the core values, it deals with the relational side of it, which I mentioned, that would be more in terms of the culture, the affinity, having people associate with your brand, with your product or service, and also the statement of what your business really stands for. So the core values defines the persona of the business. And again, just like the mission deals with targeting, the core values actually deals with the positioning of your business in the marketplace. So we said that, we would want to look at this session also like tools that you will add to your toolkit. And this would really help in your entrepreneurial journey. It really is, nothing meant to be like exhaustive and with too much details, but just paying attention to these critical points, it would really help in terms of solidifying what is your competitive advantage. And if you're not sure or you have one, it will help you to really fine tune and sharpen to create that edge in the marketplace. So we would look at the SWOT analysis, and this SWOT analysis, I'm sure maybe some of you would have engaged with a SWOT analysis before, or it could be your first time. I'm hoping that it really gives you some sort of reinforcement and you would see the importance of a SWOT analysis when we talk about competitive advantage. This framework, what it really does is that it helps you to understand and evaluate your business. This is like performance management, so what I say with a SWOT analysis, you're able to check the box, you're able to, from time to time, really sit and understand, what is happening in and around the business. So I'm not talking about, producing that good or that, so I'm not talking about that part of it. I'm talking about, what happens around it, to be able to identify gaps, knowing what these strengths are, what these weaknesses are. So what this SWOT analysis really does is that it really gives you an idea of your position in the marketplace. So with the strengths, we have a few questions, and maybe you all can take a snapshot of this. And it's understanding what your unique skills are, the experience. What experience do you come with? While you have this business idea, you have this product or service, what is the experience that's backing it? And you have to also honor that and be appreciative of that fact, whether you came out of corporate and you have this idea, like let's say you came out from the banking system, but you really are into like massaging or so, and you want to open a spa, then right there's a lot of experience that you're coming back to with certain things. So be clear about what is it that you really have. So beside that product or service, what else? And what do you do better than your competitors? So again, for startups, this might be a question that you would use later on. But even for those who are already in the marketplace, you really consider, what do you do better than your competitors? What can you, confidently say that, yes, I think based on my observation and evaluation, I can say safely that I can do this. I can really offer this to my customers with that confidence. With the other area we have here is what segment is most profitable for you. So when you are in this business segment, with micro and small businesses, you find that you get involved in one thing, then two things, and three things, then a few things. And you would find that maybe you're stretching yourself a bit thin in terms of your time, and where do you spend your time the most? So it's important to understand, what segment of your business is most profitable for you, and also consider, does your passion really lie there in that segment? And you put all of that together to be able to identify some of the strengths of the business. When we go into the weaknesses, we would look at those tasks that challenge you. So just let me just say again, the strengths and weaknesses, they are internal to the business. The opportunities and threats, they are external to the business. So when we're speaking about those challenges, I have, clients sometimes say, I do not like to do this book work at all, so they could sell. They could go out there and they could sell, they could produce, they could sell, meet the customer, but they don't like to do the accounting. They don't like to do, all of that, the calculations and putting it together, but understanding that that is very important for the business. So while it's a challenge, it's something that it's a challenge that you need to look at. So there are other things, just like time management, that could be a challenge in the business, and it can affect other areas of the business also. Think about what resources you lack in this business. What is it? What is it that you would like to have but you don't have, or maybe you can access those resources but you just maybe don't know how to get around to do those things. Think about those resources. What would make this business maybe bigger and better, more established, more visible? What are those resources, and where do you need the support? Again, back to the example in terms of your accounting. If it is that, you can sell really well and you understand your product to that extent, but the back end of it is that you don't really like to do the accounting and the bookkeeping and all of that, then you would understand that, you have to first accept that maybe, yes, there is some support that I really and truly need here. And that's just one area. It can be other things for the business. Also consider the segment of the business that's least profitable. So while with the strengths, you look at what's really, it lights you up here and you really see this as being profitable, and you're getting a lot of comments, then there are the areas where, it's something that maybe you like, but it's just not, it's just not profitable at this point. It could be for various reasons. Maybe you need to do some more market research, to really find out what is it that the customer needs from this product or service, or what is it that you need to really improve, on your offering. What is that offering, and how can you improve? When we look at the opportunities, we move into the external part of the business. So the opportunities and threats, those are the things that you really do not have, you don't at all have control over. And but the opportunities are those strategic alliances. What about those collaboration opportunities? Do you have that in the marketplace? Is it that there's some co-branding that can happen? Can you speak to someone if you're in a spa? Can you speak to someone who sells, like beauty products? Could you have that kind of collaboration happening? And it's all about, opening up your mind and being very creative in the process. The opportunities also concern the potential customers that you target. Is it that you in a bubble right now and you're just within the space and you really need to get out, maybe get out of that comfort zone where you feel very comfortable, and maybe go out there and look for the possibilities, of targeting potential customers who could use your product, so if you're a business to customer right now, maybe a business might be able to find a great advantage in working with you. So all of that, it warrants some exploration. Are there programs in place to support your business? So, especially like in the agro manufacturing sectors, there are a lot of opportunities right now. with the government of Trinidad and Tobago in terms of the incentives and the offerings. So if that's something that you're into, then really get into it, you know. So like if you have a product or service, a lot of these businesses, they would like to get in the supermarkets, you know. So get in contact with the Supermarkets Association, find out, you know, I mean, when is their next webinar in terms of how do you get your products into their shelf, on their shelves, you know. So these, it requires a lot of networking and you know, speaking and engaging. Engaging is very important. And how could technology support this business? So we would see, I mean, it happened almost automatically when we had to switch to you know, the use of technology more than ever. Just as Kristel mentioned, for the past 2 years, a lot of businesses, they're doing a hybrid approach. A lot of businesses now, they're doing their training and development programs via the online opportunities. So think about, how could technology support your business? Is it that you use technology right now and it's not working as you would like, simply because you may need some more training in the area? Well, then again, you know, you would go back and say, well, maybe that could be a potential weakness, which is internal. But again, the opportunity is there externally as, you know, something that you can get into. You can find out more information about it. Then there are the threats. And those are, for example, what are the competitors doing that you are not doing? So one thing about, we're talking competitive advantage. So as we speak about that, the idea is not that, I would always say, do not focus on your competitors until it becomes like a fixation. So everything that every move, you're marking their every move. Sometimes, because remember, the marketplace is wide and you have more and more competitors coming into your operating space, maybe every day or every month. So, I mean, at some point it would become very much overwhelming. So the idea is to definitely keep an eye on what is happening, you know, in the competitive front, but also look and really see how you are performing, your very own performance management. All right. What are the strengths of your competitors? That's something that you can also look at. Again, you know, not in any deeply comparative way to then feel as though maybe you shouldn't be doing this business, not in that way, but in a way where you can get as much information as possible to take you and your business forward. And that's the reason, it's information so that you can make a decision from there. Consider also the economic conditions, and then there are also the climatic conditions that could also be like threats, especially those again in the agri sector. It can definitely be an issue. And what is the state of the industry that you are operating in? What is that present condition? What is it? Is it something where, you know, where in terms of the taxation and other things in there, you know, which could warrant you to, okay, let me see exactly how this is working for me in the long term. Would your business be able to sustain certain things? So it's all about understanding that. Now, all of these stand, yes, as pillars, but it's not stand alone. They all work together. The strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, it's interactive with each other, interdependent. So in terms of the opportunities and the threats, the opportunities and the strengths, that right there, that's your key leverage point or your leverage points. When you look at your strengths and you look at the opportunities in the market, you are able to bring the two together and you can leverage from there. So this is really how you can gain mainly your competitive advantage. When you look at your strengths and opportunities, you will see what happens from there. And then the opportunities and the weaknesses, they come in as constraints. The opportunities and the weaknesses come in as constraints simply because internally your business maybe isn't able to really handle, you know, okay, the business prospects right now, simply because maybe you don't have the resources or you don't have the human resource capacity, you know, to hire new people or so. So while there are opportunities internally, there are the weaknesses, and that's considered a constraint. And then there are the threats and the strengths of the business. That's vulnerability. And this classic example will be COVID. You know, businesses were under threats, but those that really survived, and even the ones that came up, you would realize that in the face of this vulnerable time, for the world, it was a global impact, but particularly in our country, those businesses that really made it, they were able to sustain, that vulnerable time, and come up with new ways and means to operate. And then there are the threats and the weaknesses. So those internal weaknesses and external threats, that's where, you could say the problems exist, and we would have to look at the solutions in terms of right there where the weaknesses and threats are. That's where the potential gaps could be. And the gaps could be, huge gaps that can really affect the business in maybe, if not the short term, then definitely medium to long term, if not attended to. So here we see the big picture. So the big picture, we would have covered basically the strategic insight overview, and the SWOT analysis would be part of a situational analysis so that you could really understand where you're at right now. Because when you can understand, okay, this is where I'm at right now, it will be much easier for you to plan ahead. Could you imagine that you're operating in your business and you're unsure about so many things? And one of the reasons why you would be unsure, or why you could be unsure, is because you don't have like a bedrock. You don't have a foundation or like a basis. This is the baseline, so consider this, just understanding the vision, mission, and core values, and then maybe doing something like the SWOT analysis, and all it takes is just, putting all of this down on paper or on an Excel sheet or on Word, and just getting the details down. And in that way, you would have that level of clarity. You would be able to take the points from there and move forward. The focus is on marketing. So we would understand that from the strategic overview, what comes into play are the other functional areas of the business. Now, marketing is really distinct here because this is the communication arm of the business. As you all know, everything that happens, in the business and goes to the public, usually it will go through the marketing arm of the business. And what's important to understand here is that from the strategic part of the business, you would also get your business plan, where you would get your marketing plan, and understanding that those things it's live, those are live documents, and they require updating, and they should be user friendly and also relatable. So I would suggest, if you all have started a marketing plan, that you don't do anything that would have you wondering. So, you're reading it and it's like, oh, what am I going to do here now? What is the next move? This is not what you want. You want something that is user friendly. So the points that I'm giving you here, just, you can just go on a PowerPoint slide, or, whichever one you would like to use, and put the details down, for your business, and connect the dots from there. So what is marketing really? I mean, for a small business particularly, it is about attracting and retaining the customers. So this is what, you all are here today, to understand, and I guess more in depth, and be able to apply some tools to really understand how do I attract and retain those customers. So marketing is also defined as the process in which the company promotes and sells and distributes the product or service. So all of the communication and the messaging, as we understand, it happens through the marketing arm. And from this, and doing it well over time, you would generate that customer interest, and then you would be able to generate sales for the business. And, one thing, when I speak with clients, sometimes you find that, especially if they're unclear about certain things, areas in their business, they don't really understand the value that they create and how they contribute, to our economy. But please note that SMEs in Trinidad and Tobago, they really contribute greatly to our socio-economic development. I mean, and that is by no means that cannot be disputed. I mean, in every way, especially since it supports the diversification thrust in terms of focus away from oil and gas into more technology, manufacturing, the arts, the crafts, agro-processing. And One area, again, I mentioned that sometimes you will come up with something like an experiment, and then you would decide, well, okay, you took your grandmother's recipe and now you're able to produce this really good cake, this special cake. But understand that yes, that's a product that you have, but it's more to it. Really understand if you're in that bakery treats sort of business, then do some research, whatever business you're in, just update yourself on what's happening, what's happening in the back end, what's happening, what's to come, what are those things. Again, these things are time consuming, but what it really gives, it is the clarity so that you can take action and you can plan accordingly. And for a competitive advantage, what you're really and truly doing is you're creating those positive customer experiences. That is what it is. It's the edge at the end of the day. And how would your business be sustainable if you have that customer base and you can exchange in that process, and you can do that over time, successfully? You must know the customer needs. So you can't, say, okay, yes, I have a business, but you're unclear about the customer needs. Customer needs is really first and foremost, because that is what builds out the whole trajectory. So you can now say, okay, this is what my strategy is. This is what my marketing plan will look like. Understand that really the customer needs, those needs, it's really what drives that purchasing decision. So in order for me to take out my money and, invest or spend, in your business, buy your product or service, something must drive me, some need must drive me. And I perceive that your product or service, this will answer, my questions or concerns. So customer-centric, being a customer-centric business for competitive edge, it's very important. And again, why would we say that? It's because of competition. It is there, it is out there, and it's real. So why marketing? Why would we really go into, all of the ins and outs of marketing? From the customer's perspective, really, this is the core area here. It is about connecting and also about communicating. It's about messaging, sending the right messaging that will be influential in their decision making. And consider here, when we consider the awareness, you have an offering, you have something that you're offering. It can be business, your business to the consumers, or your business to other businesses. That offering, it must be very distinctive and clear. What is it? So that in the marketplace, there would be that awareness, and customers will have that awareness. Okay, there is this product or service or this brand, something that could be a solution to my need or my pain point. Understanding that after the awareness and they know about your product, then they would have to engage. And this engagement would be via a phone call. They would maybe do a Google search, or they can go up on Facebook, Instagram, and they can check out your business, what it is you're offering. And then you will be able, based on your content. So content is very important, and content is king, as it is said in the marketing world. In all of this, your content, what you put out there, would be the influencing factors. It would be what is the yes or no for the customer. They would say their yes or no based on the information you put out there. So that engagement is key. And then from the engagement, you have the decision. That decision is made, and you want that the decision is made, but it is made time and time again. At the end of it all, your customers really determine the longevity of your progress in your business. And in most cases, is more than having, something functional. So I can buy this just for functional purposes. It's much more than that. And there's also research that's backing that there's more of that emotional connection. And the more emotionally connected your customers are to your business, most likely they would spread that word in their social circles. And the thing about it is, it's not just the positive word, it's also the negative word. So that's why it's very important in terms of, your content, what you put out there on social media, and what actually happens, in the business when they actually have a live interaction. What is it? Is it a gap, or what is it? Or is it, yes, there is a fit and there is something that seems natural that, you know, this customer will be like, yes, I can see myself doing business, buying this product, you know, over a period of time. So the emotional connection, please don't disregard that. It's more than functional. And again, negative or positive. So we'll have to choose based on how we choose, you know, how we go about our business activities. And just an extension as to why we really having marketing, why is it so important? Really, why? Again, it's communicating also your vision, your mission, and your core values. And you're doing this in terms of even your reputation. What you're doing is you're building brand equity. You're creating that visibility, you know, for your business. And this branding is very important. What sets the business apart in a very competitive space is the brand. The brand, the product, the service, or the brand. Notice I'm using it, you know, like interchangeably, because at the end of it all, it's the brand and the influence and what is it customers or the audience or the public think about your company, your product, or your service. It's also about being relevant. So when you have this relevance in the marketplace and you communicate via your social media platforms and all of that, what you're doing is you're able to show that you have solutions to resolve the pain points of customers. So that's why, you know, sometimes in businesses, based on what type of business you're in, they will tell you, you know, you should be active on social media, put the word out there, let customers know, so that there's that degree of relevance. And you can always use, you know, in terms of relevance, to show exactly, you know, if there are facts or there's some kind of report or something that validates your product or service or the ingredients that you use in your product or service, you know, that is also very important. Important information for the marketplace. And again, all of this contributes to your competitive advantage. Okay, so then there is collaboration, and I mentioned strategic alliances, you know, those co-branded opportunities. And one thing I would say, I believe it's very powerful, you know, how you give your time, you know, in terms of a worthy cause. Are you involved in some type of charity, you know, some kind of promotional work, you know, a cause that's maybe very close to the heart of your heart, and even for your company, you know, whatever area that is, you know, maybe you can seek that out to see how best you can become involved in such causes. And then there is feedback. Feedback, I mean, that is priceless, especially when it comes from your customers, those who actually purchase your product or service. What you're doing is that you're able to also create that channel and that loop where you can introduce new services. You can have that, you can have product development possibilities simply because of the feedback that you're actually getting from your customer base. And then there is the promotions, and you would also use marketing to be able to boost your sales, to have a wider reach, whether it's local, you can go regional or international now with social media, you know. And then obviously you need to have all of your, everything should happen in such a way where, okay, if I would like to go regionally, ensure that, you know, you can have all of the connection points, so that someone who wants to reach you from one of the islands, it wouldn't be difficult because of, let's say, like a phone call, or you don't have a Facebook page that's activated with some sort of chat or so. So you have to ensure that while you're doing these things, that there are other moving parts. The other moving parts are very important, and it should happen in some sort of synchrony. So when we talk about promotions, you're also talking about maybe new segments you would like to get into. And planning is very important, because this is about, you know, where you at presently. When you look back, you should say, well, okay, this was the plan that I would have used, you know, it helped me to get where I am right now. And then you will continue with your planning. And this is also for like risk management, mitigating those risks in the business, because again, those things are, you know, it's inevitable, things happen. So that planning is very important. So this model, this tool, I would say, the segmentation, targeting, and positioning model, it's called STP for short. This helps with streamlining your marketing activities. And it's really like a 3-step process that's designed to help you identify what are those most valuable and profitable, who are those most valuable and profitable customers. And in that way, you can now tailor your marketing activities and produce that good or service that's specific to those customers. So again, the idea is not that you just go out there and you cast a wide net and you said, okay, I can do this and I will just be selling. That shows that, there isn't a plan. And what you really need is to have that plan. And when you are able to choose those segments, so we will start off with the segmentation part of it. So in segmentation, what you're really doing is identifying those bases. And those bases is simple. It's like information that you would, I'm sure that, you all can check it out and see. It could be like a contact book. It could be your address book. And those would be the names and addresses, contact numbers of your customers. Understanding who these people are is very important. And then you can go deeper into trying to understand why they even purchase your product or service. And this could be helpful. There's a significant amount of marketing research, that's needed to really understand your customer, or I could say customer research to be more specific, so that you can understand what, why are they buying my product? What is it? Is it something that it's close to them? So it's geographic. That's one of the bases. Is it that it's psychographic in terms of, okay, so this creates some sort of security for them when they buy my product or so. And you can really understand it, but it happens with, getting feedback, doing these surveys and getting in conversation with your customer, really developing. I mean, you wouldn't be able to reach out to every single customer, but at least, have those feedback forms and all of that available, so that, you can get that information. That data is what you would really use now to fine tune your business and your business operation, so that your use of resources would be, I guess, most productive, because we do have finite resources. So when you're able to get into segmentation and divide the market now into particular segments, here you will then move into the area of targeting. And what targeting really does is that it helps you to determine, out of the segmentation exercise, it will help you to determine the most viable segments that you could focus on. So I talked about, one of the strengths being really clear about who do you serve and which segments for you are what are those most profitable ones. So for now, as a startup, or if you just started or in business, you could just be wanting, maybe you just have one product so far, but just understanding more about who buys your product, who are these people, who is your customer base. So targeting, the target market is really like a subset of the total market. So in the segmentation phase, you have like the total market there, and then those that purchase from you. And then in the targeting phase, you will be able to say, okay, so out of this, in this part here, I would like to target this group of customers. And though that this group in the target or chosen target would be, they would have some similarities. So with these similarities, it will help you when we move into the positioning part of the business to really understand what these needs are, because remember, that's what we said marketing is about. It's about understanding the need of the customer. The more you understand the need of the customer, the more you'll be able to meet their expectations. And that's very important. So with positioning, all of the insights that you would have gained from segmentation and targeting, you would now use it to craft those messages, communicate appropriately to your target audience. And again, this goes for your product or your service. All right. And again, I would use brand also. So what this model really does, what this tool helps you with, is that it really eliminates the need to cast that wide net, because again, a lot of business owners, they will just start off with let me just sell, and you don't have that information, that backing as to exactly what are you doing. And when you are clear about it, this is what the competitive edge, when you go through this process, you come to the ideal customer. And the ideal customer is also, it contains those persons in your target market. Those are your ideal customers. But the ideal customer, just for your understanding, is a description of a customer who would derive the greatest value by purchasing your product or service, which brings the highest return to you. So understanding that not every single person you can serve. You cannot be the answer to every single person. There is a select group, and you and your job as a business owner, marketer, is to really understand that target market. Who are these people? And again, as it says here, identifying the ideal customer is really very much helpful as the groundwork, the groundwork in your marketing activities, since you are able to find very productive use of your limited resources. And this tool, in terms of the product positioning map, it is also called a brand positioning map, and it's very important here. What again, and this is something that you can do. You can take some time on a weekend and think about it. Think about the space that you're operating in. This is a perceptual map, and what this positioning map does is that it helps you to get more insight about your product in comparison to the competition in the marketplace. And with this, one of the things that it helps you with is it helps you to spot any gaps that any gaps that are in the market, or it can also help you to understand maybe you're in a very crowded space. That's also one of the ways and the uses of it. But it's very, very important to really identify your position. Again, this is perceptual, so this is based on the information that you have and doing your best to understand your competitors and putting it down and looking at how you stand, in all of this. So these are, just the dimensions, you can say, or the parameters you can use, and it is all based on these parameters. It's all based on the customer's perspective. All right. It must be considered important to the customer. So whether let's say you have, I have an example here, rice bowls. Let's say that you produce these rice bowls. You would be able to figure out, okay, healthy and tasty, those are the two things that customers who buy this is what they want. And then, you can realize, well, okay, there's a market opportunity. There's untapped market here. Because most of what's available on the market, it could be in the more tasty, unhealthy space. So just so that we get it, like really clear, how do you really do it? You list all of your competitors who offer a similar product or service to you. The second step is that you pick those two dimensions or parameters that's important to the customer. And then you would rate your competitors, and then you would rate your business from there. Okay. So when we look at a marketing strategy, what this really does is that it gives you that long-term plan. Okay, so that when you do all of the strategic work and you understand what marketing is about and all of that, you come up with a marketing strategy. And I would mention again, am I selling to the consumer, or am I selling and trading with the business? So you need to understand exactly how that works. And the strategy is something that is long-term. You will use that over the long haul. So again, it comes up with saying it's understanding the needs of the customers and creating those distinct and sustainable competitive advantages for your business. What the marketing strategy does is that it sets the course for your business. So, when Kristel spoke about what happens, if you're going to a store and all of that, I mean, one would wonder how much work did they actually put into it? How much work in the back end did they actually put to train their staff, or to put that content that would really be something that is convincing enough to say, okay, let me really try the product, and then you go and then something else happens. It means that this strategy wasn't clearly thought of. You needed to think through everything. In marketing, you think through everything, because what you're doing, you're touching on needs, and you want to be able to meet those expectations. So with this marketing strategy, what it really does is to help you define the company's position within the marketplace, the types of products that you produce, the partners that you will want to have these alliances with, and the advertising and promotions that you would have for the business. An important thing in marketing is to also understand empathy. So one of the areas in terms of being able to spot those gaps and gain that competitive edge is to be able to truly understand, okay, what is really happening here. you have to be constantly, it's like a radar. It's something that you're always looking at. You know, you're looking at what's happening on the customer side of it. You would look at the competitive side of it, understanding that, you know, change is also important, and you always look at your strategy and see, does it meet the current needs of the market? So having that empathy will give you that additional strength or boost to be able to say, okay, you have to be a good listener. Yes, it's about selling, but it's also about listening attentively to what your customers are saying. So just a recap in terms of applying the STP model as a tool, you would be able to define your market, create those segments, identify the more attractive segments, evaluate your competition, and decide on the positioning. And when you do that, then you will be able to determine your marketing mix. So in terms of everything that we have done so far, understanding that adapting the marketing mix is key to your competitive advantage. And why is that? Because everything that you do, and once you identify your ideal customer, your target market, and you understand positioning and how you want to be seen in the minds of your consumers or the audience, you would now be specific, very specific when you do your marketing activities. So it comes with, you know, the product. So with a product, once you have a product, you can definitely say, you know, you can start from there. Without a product or service, you would have nothing to sell, nothing at all. Okay. So then you move on to the price. And then again, with the product, there are certain things that you have to look at for the competitive advantage. The quality. So again, I would mention what Kristel said. You bought the, what is promoted is that, okay, this high quality product, but when you actually purchase it, the product, it might be inferior. It wouldn't have all of the features that's mentioned. The design is definitely not what you expected. Okay, and then that would be where you create the gaps. And when you create the gaps, it will be, I will say, a competitive disadvantage. It would no longer be an advantage for the business. The price, this is the revenue generating, the only revenue generating aspect in the marketing mix. So it's very important in terms of how you will look at price and how you put that together. Understanding, you know, is it value-based pricing? Is it something that you just want to do something like a bargain pricing? It's very important to get to the nuts and bolts of the pricing, because again, as you know, if someone purchases something that's really a bargain deal, they would say, well, okay, this might be may not last long, or compared to something that's more expensive, you know. So the pricing portrays the value and it convinces the customer to buy. So that has to be something that's tapered, you know, based on your relevant business. And then in terms of the place, this really goes into where the customer actually purchased your product. Is it that they do it online? Is it some location? You know, is it a website? Accessibility is very important, and that's a key competitive edge: the accessibility of your product or service. And then we move into promotion. So this is where all of the let's say fanfare happens, you know, where you're promoting and you're messaging and you're getting your information out there. But again, understanding that when we're speaking about a competitive edge, you have to ensure that what you say is what really happens, is what is in most cases what is experienced. So the promotion is everything that the public notices. And this is not even your customers, this is beyond your customers. Once it's out there, you know, the promotion evokes awareness, it evokes interest, and it's what the public sees, and it's what the customers, again, would make a decision whether I purchase or not. Make that buying decision. When we talk about the people, what we're actually speaking about here is it's everyone or anyone who interacts with your brand, your product, or your service. And this even relates to the outsourced services. Okay, so that your recruitment strategy is a key competitive advantage. And I will say that again, your recruitment strategy is a key competitive advantage. When you look at the process, this is exactly what happens. So what is the process in terms of getting that particular product in my hand? What is it for me? How did I feel? You know, is it a long-winded process? I wasn't comfortable with it at all. What is it like? And then we would look at the physical evidence, and physical evidence is maybe, you know, how your spa looks, what is the welcoming like? Did it, you know, was it comfortable enough for me? Would I recommend someone else to go there? All right, it is an experience. It's also considered like an online experience. How do I feel interacting with your website or with your social media pages? So understanding that all of these here, these 7 P's, and the last 3 with the people, the process, and the physical evidence, it speaks specifically to customer service. It speaks specifically to customer experience. And this is where, again, you know, the people factor comes in, and it's very important for a competitive advantage. Okay, so in terms of marketing to gain a competitive advantage, let's just recap that it's a key business function. What you're doing is communicating value, you're exchanging those goods and services, and you're actually meeting the expectations, or you would like to meet the expectations of the customer. And in that way, you will be able to generate that profit. Now, in the absence of it, that's why I would have highlighted meeting the expectations. A business is profitable if the value created for the customers, it exceeds the cost of creating that value for the customers. So in this line of operation here, the critical part here, you know, in terms of you being able to generate profits, have that sustainable competitive edge over a period of time, is all about meeting the expectations. And, you know, I would have mentioned gaps, you know, a few times in the presentation. So it's really about understanding where is the gap in your business. What is promoted versus what is experienced, or what is expected by the customer versus what is actually experienced, and understanding that and getting into it, you know, so it's more like a walk your talk situation, you know, as much as you promote, ensure that all of the elements in the 7 P's, your process, and these people that you interact with, and who works in your business, and even yourself, you know, that you actually, you know, you can show up and stand out, and all of it, you know, there seems to be some synchrony, so that in the mind of the customers, they are able to say, yes, you know, I'm truly comfortable with this, and these are, you know, what the points that really helps you to gain a competitive edge. Because when you have a customer who is displeased, again, they may go out and make those negative comments. So social media it's good, but I mean, when negative comments come your way for your business, is something that, you know, you really is not the easiest thing to deal with. So what is promoted versus what is experienced is like maybe a key, something that's key that you can always keep at the top of your mind in terms of understanding gaps in your business. And on the marketer's radar, I mean, all of you are small business owners, so understanding that you are the first marketer, the first brand ambassador for your business, and it's all about the customer, and truly understanding them, understanding that it's more than functionality by purchasing, you know, your good or service. It's also more about the emotional connection. And then the change is inevitable. We have a lot of climate change. We have different things that are happening, you know, so keeping an eye on the space and understanding what's happening in your business space is very important, and being able to adapt to that is really a game changer, and it contributes to your competitive advantage. And consistency. And when I say consistency, I mean, you have to know what really works for your business and take the time to learn, to understand, and really figure out what really works for your business, and do it, and keep doing it, and keep doing it well. It takes, you know, a great deal of evaluation, but I mean, this is your business and this is your process that you're developing, and the end game really it's for competitive advantage, and not just competitive advantage, but a sustainable competitive advantage. So this brings me to the end of the presentation. So now, you know, I don't know, we can check out to see what those questions or viewpoints are. I would have gone over by maybe 5 to 10 minutes, Kristel. So I hope that it was worthwhile, although I did go over.
Yes, so that is okay. That is okay. We are back, and before, I just want to share my screen here. I don't know if you're seeing it, because we are speaking about marketing, right? And I just want to share that one of our new products right now is for micro and small business, is our new vehicle loan promotion. Yay! 100% financing for small businesses. If you have a small business, if you have a maxi taxi service, if you have a taxi service, come at us. We are giving you 100%, all of it, for new roll on, roll off, locally used. We are giving you that in a loan, yes, and up to 7 years to repay. So we have low monthly installments, and it's a very, very affordable place for small business to get that key and essential equipment called a vehicle. Right now, nowadays, it's no there is no doubt about it. Sometimes we need to deliver to people. COVID showed us that having a vehicle now changed the way we do things. So please call us and find out about our new vehicle loan. So let's get into the question.
Yes.
While you were speaking about the SWOT analysis, we have a question coming in from Alberta. Alberta would like to know, what are the 2 areas that combine for vulnerability? So you were speaking about strengths, weaknesses, threats, and opportunities. And she would like to know, within those 2 areas combined, which are the 2 you mentioned for the business to be vulnerable, that will allow the business to be vulnerable at some point in time?
Okay, so that's when you have a threat in that's there in the environment, but then you also have a strength in the business. So that's why I use the example of COVID. A lot of businesses were able to sustain the impact of COVID simply because there was some significant strengths in the business. So even with the onslaught of COVID, they didn't close down, or some businesses did. So yes, the 2 things, the internal strength, and you match that with the threat. It creates a space of vulnerability.
Okay, wonderful. And secondly, when you were speaking about the STP model, right, Alberta asked, can you give a specific example of a business and their named segments?
A specific example of a business and their name segment. So I know of a business that's into they do like food preparation. So they actually do rice bowls. So this business did a lot of market research. And in terms of being able to say where they want to be located, there were 1 or 2 options, but they chose the one that's close to the Point Pleasant area. And it was all done, it was all done intentionally as to why they were doing it, because they wanted to target the workforce in that area. It's a wide workforce in that area, and they were able to target the business there. So they were able to do their segmentation. They were able to target specifically those persons who wanted to eat healthy meals, so that it's not just the fast food approach. That business is not, it wasn't about providing a fast food, but just providing healthy meals. And with their market research, they found that, in that segment there in the Point Pleasant area, it was most viable for them. Positioning in terms of how they would actually put all of their messaging and all of that together. It was done in a way that was, again, conducive and very much appreciative. That's just like an example that comes to mind that actually I can give some credits to.
So that's more geographic segmentation, which is based on location. So that's wonderful. And same sticking with the STP model, Donna
Mhm.
wants to know, what about service type companies? How do you apply the model to a service type company?
Mhm. Okay, well, it's the same. It's really the same. I mean, I understand the difference there is that with a product, it's tangible, with the service, it's intangible. And how do you apply the STP model is that you would have to just understand what kind of business are you in. And you'll have to do the very set market research. Let's just say that you have a business consultancy, you do business writing. I'm just saying you do business writing, or you have virtual assistant services and you have a consultancy providing that service. That's a service, it's intangible. And then you would have to think about, okay, so what are the needs in this segment? What do business owners need, and who do you want to target? Do I want to target small businesses or medium-sized businesses or large businesses? I don't think you could possibly do all three, but you can definitely choose one. And let's say you target medium-sized businesses, and from there you will be able to craft, okay, how do I want to influence these businesses now to buy into my product or service? And how would you do that? You would obviously have to have like a Facebook page. You would maybe go to do, you would have radio programs that you could maybe attend, like see if you could get some interviews. You have to put, now selling a service is way more difficult than a product because it's tangible and the other one is intangible. So you may need to have like some reviews, like who you worked with, what experience do you come with, what backing do you have that supports your virtual assistance business. So in the line of service, that's what I can explain, in terms of how you can do it, and you can do it successfully for sure.
Yes, and podcasts and those
Yeah,
sort of
all of those. Yeah.
blogs and vlogs, all of
Yes.
those help you 100%.
Having a website, yeah, having a website with a blog, yeah,
all of that
very,
will
very
help
good.
services. And we are going to take one final question. Yes, I know this is a really, really interesting topic, but we only have time. We're already over time, and we just want to take one final question. Can you expand a bit on the people sector of the marketing mix? Does it pertain to staff and the face of the business? That's what she means. Yeah. And the face
Okay,
of
both. Okay, so we have you run a small business. First and foremost, I mentioned you are the very first brand ambassador. Before you have any other influencer come in, you have to be the one that goes out there and you actually influence. So in terms of the people aspect, your recruitment and selection, now that is critical. I mean, I think it's the most critical thing. I mean, yes, you have your product, you have the price. The other part of it is the people factor. Now that is a make or break, and it could affect your competitive advantage, and it could end up being a disadvantage. Why? If you hire people into your business, or you work with service providers who they are unclear about what your business is about, then that is not going to work for your business. What's going to happen is that you will have substandard production. If you're not clear about, in terms of talking with your suppliers, they are in the people mix also, talking to your suppliers about the specifics you want for your raw materials to produce your product. That could also be an issue. So that's why I stress, and I did it a few times, so that you can understand that the strategic overview, that bedrock, is important. So when you get that, you can break out into your targeting part and the positioning part, and in that way you'll be able to see, okay, this is the kind of person, this is my ideal employee, so to speak. Right, and then you'll be able to do a job analysis. So one of the in the people aspect, let me also say that a job analysis is very important to be able to understand the knowledge and the skills, the abilities that's required for each position, and understanding in that position what are the critical success factors for that position. I know we're running out of time, but
yes, so
there's
we
so much to
are
say about
out
that.
of time. It
Yeah.
was wonderful, wonderful, wonderful to have every one of our cyber family here with us today. The session was jam-packed, and we thank you, Karena, for opening the doors of marketing and sharing your wonderful knowledge and bringing theory in a practical sense to us, right? And don't worry. I don't want anyone to worry. This is the first event that we have. We also have the goodie call establishing a brand identity workshop on January 26th. We have cash flow management next month on the 2nd of February. Record keeping cash management, very important, on the 9th of February. And developing marketing strategies. That workshop, which is directly as well aligned to this particular webinar, that takes place on the 28th of February. Don't forget, you have group advisories, Buddy Up and Build, general advisories, and our pop-up shops coming up soon as well. So, for further information, feel free, send us an email at training@nedco.gov.tt or call us at 821-5800. Take time to answer our poll questions, please. We placed it in the chat there. Please answer our poll question. Let us know. Did this webinar meet your expectations? Yes, no, somewhat. How can we make this better for you? We are here for you. Not for us, but for you. Let us know. Call us, message us, email us. Thank you so much, Karena. Thank you so much to our cyber family.
Kristel, just
Sure.
one, Kristel, Malik has his hand up. I don't know if we have time for his question or comment. Do you want to take that or no? Malik.
He had a question about the recording, I believe.
Okay. Good.
And yes, the recording will be shared. It definitely will be shared with you, so you can take time to go over the parts that you may have missed before. Don't worry, we have you covered. That's what we do. We are here for you. So again, wonderful. And we are happy to say this is our first one. Yeah. We have so much more for the year. See you guys soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye, and thank you, everyone. Take care.